Lately, I've been doing a fair amount of reflecting on the recent government scandals, political underhandedness, and lack of administrative transparency, not just in the United States, but around the world as well. There are PhD level scholars that have dedicated themselves to exposing inconsistencies and blatant lies in these realms, and I've been able to glean some interesting concepts and ties from their work, but that's for a later date. What I try to do here on this channel is encourage others to think independently and verify the veracity of what they're being told, even by me. More people are waking up to the fact that news media like your ABC, CNN, Fox News, Pick the Poison are rich with government propaganda and, let's be clear here, frequent falsehoods. Over the years, this has given rise to a growing alternative media community that, up until recently, has been rather effective at informing genuinely inquiring minds. The truth movement, the information war, whatever you've named it, to various degrees has been infiltrated. Not to a point of total ineffectiveness, but where the alternative community begins to echo the mainstream, we should tread carefully. Unfortunately, from time to time, we can find ourselves down rabbit holes that are deliberately divisive or dangerously deceptive. Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, sexual allegations and misconduct, Charlottesville, Berkeley protests, Antifa, Vegas shooting, Take a Knee, car ramming, pandemics, North Korea, Russian election interference. These are all ways that serve to both desensitize and divide. This strategy effectively keeps the public buried in headlines far away from any inclination to look past such theatrics. If you're like me, you probably aren't inclined to conform to the general conclusions or consensus fashioned by the willfully spoon-fed. You're indeed one of the few. Those open to new concepts are the easiest to engage in constructive dialogue with. I think it's essential to equip ourselves with the interpersonal communication skills necessary to reach out and break down the walls some of our brothers and sisters have erected around their hearts and minds. The world that's coming online is an entirely new reality. The gentleman's deliberation is a faded art. Debates are exacerbated by supplanting fact for strong beliefs or opinion and a surplus emotional investment in rigid worldviews. We're living in an age where civil division, the loss of common sense, and a burgeoning new class of people, the working poor, has become normalized. It really has been challenging realizing the scope of this control grid. It's strategically designed to keep one's mind imprisoned in a manufactured reality with seductive gimmicks. We've really come to a place where it's hard to discuss pertinent issues even among close peers and colleagues. If you've been with this channel, then you know I have a slower, more thought-intensive take on world events. I don't want to be another channel constantly regurgitating the latest headline. However, that doesn't mean I won't bring you the notables from time to time. For example, whether you know it or not, engineers, scientists, and doctors are currently attempting to fabricate an avatar, a vessel or host capable of sustaining the brain, even human consciousness outside of the body. There are companies, organizations, and corporations developing science fiction-like technologies aimed at radically expanding the human lifespan through such means. You might be thinking, for those who transplant their consciousness into these synthetic bodies, do they retain their citizenship and human rights? Are they even human at all? You would have to figure if transhumanists or posthumans plan to transplant their essence into another temple, then naturally that vessel would be granted or retain initial human rights. Now, I'm not prepared to have a philosophical debate here. However, as most of my subscribers are probably aware, an artificial life form has already been granted citizenship. There are limits, and it's not as simple as the headlines imply, but seemingly small things like this have very heavy implications. I think there's a chance these avatars will be capable of hosting more than just a human spirit, and in this way we'll see etheric entities once again become tangible. It'll also be at this point where the human truly becomes programmable. This isn't the kind of information you'll get from platforms belonging to conglomerates that have monopolized, corporatized, or privatized honest investigative journalism. It was sometime back in the early 1980s when over 40 different companies owned close to 100% of the media. 90% is the conservative number. That's a relatively robust dispersal. However, after just a few short years later, news media began to radically consolidate. Today, only a handful of companies like Time Warner, Viacom, and Disney own close to 100% of traditional media and over half of your cable options as well. So what do we do? There are self-organized citizens collaborations dedicated to fact-based references for alternatives to official stories. Think tanks, if you will, of open source investigators eagerly researching and informing themselves, willing to reach out to others even on a grassroots level. We don't all have letters after our names or sport a master's degree, but I believe education isn't only for the classroom. The classroom does a very poor job at equipping individuals with the mental faculties for their adult life. We really need to take the blinders off and have a good look around us. Beyond our 6 feet of space and social media, this world is altering its form and serious change is coming to pass. Take care of yourselves out there, guys.